All right, we're joined now by SABC News' international editor, Sophie Mokoena. Sophie, thank you for being with us. What is the latest you're hearing from Eswatini?
Well, the latest is that the government of Eswatini has taken measures to try and clamp down on the current protest in that country. We are told that when you walk around the capital city, what you see it's just the military and the security forces. Earlier on, the acting Prime Minister issued a statement outlining measures that have been taken in terms of dealing with security issues. Let's take a listen at what the Prime Minister said earlier on about measures that they've taken in terms of dealing with the security.
In order to minimize unnecessary movement and ensure the safety and security of amaSwati and residents, government has taken the decision to introduce a curfew between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. with immediate effect. All offices must be closed by 3:30 p.m. to allow workers to get home safely. Essential workers will be required to produce a permit when traveling at night.
Sophie, we'll get to the King, but this will be chilling for some people. Also, the reports, which I certainly can't verify, that the internet is being shut down. What is the fight about, if somebody had to ask you and is not following the politics of Eswatini?
For years, people in Eswatini have been complaining about the kind of government and democratic dispensation they have in that country. Many feel that they need to have a head of government, not a head of state. You know, for example, in Lesotho, you have the head of state who is ceremonial, that is the king, but you have head of government who is the prime minister with executive powers. Therefore, they are saying the current prime minister or the system of having a prime minister doesn't really give the prime minister executive powers. Therefore, it is still the king who takes decisions, even in terms of appointing the very same prime minister. And they are saying they want that to change. And they have been protesting for almost 5 days now, asking for interaction with the king and those who support him to discuss this matter, particularly to speed up the process to ensure that they are able to elect the Prime Minister directly. Secondly, we heard from the Embassy of the United States of America in Swaziland. They have closed the office and they have indicated that telecommunication is a problem. They can't even utilize the phones. And therefore, it is indeed true that communication in Swaziland is currently a problem. This is not unique. You know, on the continent, this is what normally despots do. When you have a problem in your country, the first thing that they do nowadays is to cut the communication, because they know that people will continuously give information in terms of what's happening on the ground, even though media has to. Let me emphasize, media must verify those kind of information before you can share with the public, the viewers or the listeners. And therefore, it is currently a problem to even access information. They had promised this morning that there's going to be a media briefing where journalists can be able to ask questions on behalf of the citizens of the region, on behalf of the international community, but also on behalf of citizens of Eswatini. But unfortunately, they didn't do that. They chose to just send these statements that we have been reading. And unfortunately, now to access the other side is quite a problem because there's no communication.
Of course, and they can't even reach journalists to get information out. Very quickly, we're running out of time. Do we know where the king is?
Well, clearly you heard earlier on the acting prime minister emphasizing that the king is still in Swaziland. Let me emphasize, this is a word or the statement from government, the acting prime minister, but to verify that is very difficult because of the communication. But secondly, I think if the king is in Swaziland, he's the head of state. He is supposed to address his subjects and also to address the SADC region, because he does represent SADC in all meetings as a head of state with executive powers. He does attend the AU meetings because he's head of state with executive powers, and all other international platforms and fora like your United Nations. And therefore, it's quite surprising when the king is not speaking, but it is the acting prime minister who is speaking. Remember, acting prime minister. And therefore, that is why it becomes a problem for media to really say, with authority that the king is in Swaziland. And I think as long as he is not coming out to speak, the rumor will continue.
All right, thank you for explaining a murky situation with as much clarity as possible. Thank you very much, International Editor Sophie Mokoena.